The other day I got on YouTube video. I got one young man who asked me, "How many books have you read?" Okay, so he must have been new to my channel or something. So he just put, "How many books have you read?" So I just kind of inquired, "How old are you?" And so he told me he is in his 20s and he has read 23 books. So I told him, sorry, I have this cold. So I told him that I started reading books at the age of 16. I'm 46. So I guess I must have read a few books more. Now, had this guy asked me this question a couple of years ago, like how many books you have read, I would have shared an answer like, "Oh, I've read 1,600 books," or "I read one book every 2-3 days," or I try to finish one book a day, or I told him, "If you Google search, you'll see my top 100 list." And I would have tried to answer in a way to show him that I'm very smart, very intelligent, or someone who is constantly reading books. And this stems from the fact that when I was young, I used to read books first initially out of curiosity, and I really wanted to learn. But then it came down to the part where I used to read books so that the information that I would get, I could show off or brag about it or get people's attention, approval. People would look at me as, "He's not a dumb kid," or "Wow, he's so smart." So I was to do that to seek validation. And I think we all go through that phase in our lives. When we are young, we do things to seek validation or seek approval, or we just want to show off. "Look, I'm so smart." In fact, in my WhatsApp groups, I have a lot of these 20-year-old young boys who love to tell or love to share, "Oh, I've read this book on artificial intelligence by this guy," or "I've read evolutionary biology by so-and-so." One of them, hardly 16 years old or something, sent me, "I would like to know which book should I read on cognitive psychology and human biases." Then I even got one guy who was arguing, Noval Harris in his book on Sapiens has said, and he quoted some very hi-fi intelligence statement. I was like, oof, this is going over my head. So it's not something new that most of us like to read books, yes, to update our information, but many of us read it to show off. Show off how many books I've read. And then obviously I've read 1,000 books, I've read 2,000 books. I read one book a day like Thai Lopez, which is not possible. You're not reading, you're skimming. And I don't like this fast reading techniques. I think it's rubbish. Obviously when you're young, you want to find speed reading courses or fast reading courses. It's all rubbish. See, I'll share with you a few tips about the mistakes I've done in the past where reading books was concerned, and how my perception has changed and how do I read books today. See, in the past, I used to believe that you have to pick up a book, read from beginning till the end, and you have to read it fast and underline and highlight information and then put a book review and let the world know that you've completed a book. I was actually in a race to read more number of books That is why I think it's kind of crazy numbers I used to have, like 300 books a year. That was my target. And I would just take any book and just read quickly and look at it fast and try to absorb whatever I could. And I think I reached a number that was like 2,000 books or plus, so I don't know what. Okay. Today, however, I don't read a book from beginning to the end. And neither do I share online, I'm reading this book and this book and this book, nor do I put a book review. Book review is nice to share, but I do it very rarely now. Before I used to do it very aggressively, because obviously I wanted my brand name to stand out. Oh, he's a very learned, he's a very intelligent guy. But that's not the case. Just because you read a book doesn't mean you're smart. Just because you read 1,000 or 2,000 books doesn't mean you're 2,000 books smarter. It's like reading Wikipedia or an encyclopedia. Nothing happens here. It doesn't matter if you memorized 10,000 books. So what are you going to do? What are you going to be? Today, if you and I need information, just go to Google search, type out what we need, and we take what we need, right? What's the point of memorizing everything? It is no different than memorizing in the school and getting a first rank and trying to show off. So today what I do is, if I need something important, let's say personal branding or letter writing or updated cover letters or resume rebrand or earning money or understanding Google or anything, or it'll be a book just on for me to update my knowledge on cognitive biases or something, or you can even say a recipe to cook something. I will take the book, I will skim through the chapters, I'll try to find out which chapter do I want to read, which chapter is interesting. And once I find the chapter, what I do is I go to the end of the chapter and see, has he given a summary? If he's given a summary, fine. Then I got what I wanted. If he's not given a summary and I find the chapter interesting, I read that chapter. So maybe I took a book, I read chapter 5. I skim through the rest, nothing interesting, finish. Put that book away. Sometimes if I feel the book is really large and I really, not that I don't have time, I have time, but I choose not to put my time, effort and energy to go through the entire book. I go through on YouTube you have book review summary. I might listen to 10, 20 of them. Seriously, 10, 20 book summaries. And eventually I find out what I want. Because when a person gives a book summary, they tend to give the best parts of the book. And there are so many YouTube channels that give you the best parts of the book. So once I get that, I kind of realize, okay, I got what I wanted. But if I'm still intrigued, then I might listen to an audio book. You have a lot of these audio series and some of them are even for free. So when I'm on my treadmill, I might listen, or when I'm walking. And every day I'll listen to 1 hour, so it's faster. But if still I feel like I need to read that book, then I'll keep that book aside. And every day I'll allocate a certain amount of time. Once I just wake up in the morning and discipline myself. Now there are times where I do this also just to, like I said, discipline myself, because not everything should be just audiobook or book summary. Sometimes I force myself to sit down and read a book and underline and finish it. And it need not be like a massive, like a Bible of a book with 1,000 pages. It can be 30 pages, it can be 50 pages, it can be 20 pages. So, and the reason why I do it is it instills in me the 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 values and virtues of self-discipline and not always, wanting things my way. So today it is, for me today it is not about showing off how many books I read and telling the world, hey, listen, I completed 10 books or 20 books or 1,000 books. Who am I trying to impress, or who am I trying to fool? And what is the point? I mean, are we in a competition? Oh, he read 10,000 books. This guy read 1,000. Rate the people. It is all about why you doing it. Are you doing it to show off? Are you doing it for validation? Are you doing to prove to the world, look, I'm smart? Because when I was young, I just wanted to prove I was smart. Today I don't care. You think I'm smart? You think I'm dumb? I'm just interested in working, earning, providing for my family. I don't need your certificate of approval or your validation that I'm smart. And even if people tell me, oh, Loy, you're so smart, man, so many book reviews I checked about. How does it help me, man? As you become older, you start realizing, you start looking into yourself and asking, what am I doing? So, yes, when people see me, they judge me as this dumb fuck who's mentally unstable and tattooed. But when they come to my house, they see all these books. Oh, sheesh, man, he reads a lot. I used to do that initially as a trainer. That books they used to see and they used to get blown away. That's why if you see my previous videos, 11 years ago, all the books were kept at the back, all the trophies were kept above. Because I wanted to show the world I'm smart and I have so many trophies and awards. And today I don't care about all this. So, yeah, and then I think, remember, it's not a race to read a book. It's not a competition. And it shouldn't be about bragging to the world. Rather, if you read a book, it should be what principle or idea or lesson can I use from this book to become a better human being, to become a better individual, to make me a better person. What can I apply and for what am I using this information? In my case, whenever I read a book, I try to see, can I implement this principle into my life immediately? And if I can do that, I think that helps me. And obviously, there are some books which give you great ideas. There are some books that give you ideas which are sound good but are rubbish. And then there are just these hocus pocus nonsense books that I just don't bother. One more thing I would like to tell you. Most of the book authors, what they do is they tend to have a very good concept. I used to think people who write books are very learned or educated or super smart or experts. Most of the people are sharing an opinion. So what they do is, for example, simple one, time management. They'll talk about time management. They tend to have like 4-5 points. But generally what these guys tend to do is, because they speak to their book publisher or somebody, they drag these 4-5 points into like 300 pages. Instead of just giving you, those 4-5 points, they can just put it in one paragraph. But obviously, if they give in one paragraph, that book is only half a page or 1 page or 2 or 1 chapter. How will the book sell? That's why they drag it. And sometimes I see these authors just dragging the same example again and again and again with 10 different variations to say it, 100 different examples. And then it's again, you're wasting your time. So be wary of this. And keep one thing in mind. In a day and age of social media, many people, they have fake reviews for books. Almost all the books that you see on Amazon bestseller, Amazon highest rated, maximum 5-star reviews. All this you can buy, all this you can manipulate. It's pointless. That's why I don't go through the 5-star reviews. I check the 1-star, 2-star, 3-star. That kind of gives me a balanced overview. Obviously, might go to 4-star. And if there is a 5-star review, I check the review of the book review. And obviously, then I go and check if they have a Google Talk, or they have a talk, or they've spoken somewhere. I check their blog posts. That gives me a summary of whether this book is worth it or not. And just so that it's, before I used to buy books like almost $2,000 a month sometimes. It was crazy. I used to take bank loans and all that. Today I don't do that. Today if I like a book, I'll just check its review online. I'll check the Google summary, or I'll check the YouTube summary. I check a blog post. I try to see how can I get the best ideas of this book in the fastest time possible, or in a few lines. And that's about it, man. And then I don't bother going through the whole thing, because what is the point of reading the whole thing? And no, in case some of you like to know, I prefer a physical book than a Kindle. I know a Kindle is very convenient. You can carry it with all, the entire collection. But I'm old school. I prefer taking a physical book, and I use the book. I highlight with a yellow highlighter. I write down, and sometimes I might even transfer this to a Google Doc for my, it's a dedicated Google Doc with all ideas. So that's how it goes about. My advice to you is whether you should buy or shouldn't buy a book, that is entirely up to you. But remember, what does a book cost? $5, $10? If you buy a pirated copy, $1, or sometimes you can download it for free. A book hardly costs anything. People spend much more on a cup of coffee, or taking someone on a date, or eating a burger. So investing in books is always a blessing, whether physical, whether Kindle. I always personally felt better to buy books and keep, so whenever I want I can access. So, and sometimes when you don't know what you want, one book will jump out. That was always beautiful. So I always love to keep books. But yes, it has been a very expensive decision, because when I have to travel or shift residence, I have paid more money than my books itself, just to carry my books around. And on top of that, you have taxes, and it's crazy. I'm not joking when I say this. I've paid more money, the total amount for my books, brand new. I've spent more money carrying and transporting the books around and managing them. But there's no regret, because that has helped me become a better human being. So, with regards to buying books, always an investment. Good book or bad book, like I told you, check the Amazon reviews. But don't just check the 5-star, most of them are paid. Check the Google reviews, check the YouTube reviews, check a book online summary. Once you get the gist of the whole idea, then ask yourself, okay, do I really want to know more? And yes, it's always good to support the author if you do buy the book. I buy only originals. I don't buy duplicates, because it has changed my life, and paying a small fee like $5, $10 doesn't matter at all. It's a gift. It has changed my life. It has made me a better human being. But like I said, now I don't have books for showing off. I don't brag about how many books I read, or don't share information. I've read 10 books, 20 books this month, or I'm reading one book a day. Or if someone asks me, have you read 2,000 books, or just read a few books here and there, because I'm not seeking for validation, approval. I think what is most important for me is the idea or concept, the doable. Can I use it right now? And yes, like I said, I always check blog posts. I check for the idea summarized and to the point. Rest, I don't bother. And yes, a balance between books and audiobooks, book review summary. It's always a good mix to have. And last but not the least, remember what I told you. Once a while, I do take a book and I discipline myself to read through the whole book, because you can't always have, I want to be, just want to not read. Reading in itself is a very powerful exercise, because it forces you to put your eyes, your mind, your hands, your entire body, and discipline yourself reading. So if you're at the initial stages, I suggest reading. It'll help you become a better individual, have a better vocabulary, better style of thinking, and yes, over the period of time, help you polish yourself to become a better individual and human being. So this is what I wanted to share with you. If you have any questions with regards to books, book reading, selecting a book, which subject, whatever, just put your comments. And if I feel something warrants a separate video, I'll make it. Otherwise, I'll answer your question immediately. Having said that, let me know what are your thoughts. This is me signing off. You guys take care.